What if you played a game, but you should get fired for it because you played it?
Oh, that's even better than what I had suggested.
You are such a lion sack of...
Oh, that sounds wonderful to be fired for a
You
game
think
that I
so?
made to try out and test.
No,
that way to make sure it's working.
no, not even trying. Just literally just bought and playing.
Wait, what? So it's released?
Yes.
Okay, why wouldn't you play it? Why wouldn't you play it?
Because they work for PlayStation. That's why.
What? Hold on.
Just literally because
that's so stupid.
So Alanah Pearce here. She has worked for many studios.
Right.
She's worked for Xbox, and now she's working for PlayStation. Okay. Well, see, Starfield's an Xbox exclusive, but she works for PlayStation, so therefore.
Oh no! Wait, that still doesn't make any sense. If she's not playing on the job, it doesn't matter.
Okay, but here's the thing that people don't get, as we'll get further into this.
She signed a contract.
Just because another game comes out on another console should not mean that you should not play it. If you're actually in a competing, if you're competing, you need to know what game they put out and why people are liking this, so that you can go, okay, we're going to copy that and put it in our new game, so that we, take
I
it
don't
back.
understand why more companies do that. It's just like it's a working strategy. Like what?
Well, most companies do that. What are you talking about? Have you ever been on the internet?
Why are they getting so mad? Like, this makes no sense.
Oh, we'll figure it out. Let's see why are they getting mad.
This pops up every few months, and before we get into today's video, I would like to state that usually I don't even see it. I will have no idea if there's some Twitter thread about me or
was it in her contract? No,
Reddit
nothing
or
like
4chan or whatever else, unless I am told. My mentions are so filtered that I won't see you tag me. Like, I literally just have no idea this is even happening. And if people do tell me enough that it's happening, I generally don't care. And the reason for that is because I frankly feel like I am too old, and I've felt that way for a long time. Like, I'm not worried about what someone's saying about me on YouTube or on Twitter. I am a grown woman with bills to pay. I'm worried about taxes. My sister had a baby yesterday. Like, I couldn't be less concerned about, like, what some dudes are tweeting, you know? So I don't ever read any content about myself at all. But
wow,
that's straightforward.
All right.
Basically, don't give an F what you got to say about me on the internet. That's
They're not
pretty
paying
much simple.
the bills. Why do they matter?
And exactly. So if you want to like trash or whatever, I'm actually, I don't care.
Wonderful. You do that, I won't care. I'll just continue playing my little games. You won't stop me.
So what is it? But people have such a hard case when it comes to these console things you're about to see.
Dude, I swear if it's the people just like who started this nonsense.
Why would you think the people
don't you dare tell me that the people started some nonsense like this.
I wanted to make a video about it. Just to like say my piece, because this is starting to happen so frequently. And I'm like, let me just say the thing and then get back out and like go back to minding my own business. Yeah. There's another guy who was like, I'm so sorry about what other PlayStation Brazilian fans have been saying to you. I don't speak Portuguese. A, wouldn't have known it was a thing if you haven't told me. B, wouldn't have understood it. Thank you. That is a nice thing to say, but literally will not know it exists unless you tell me. I prefer you just don't tell me. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. So they're ragging on me in a different language.
Dude, you know, that just reminded me of a bit of history. How like the coloners, they were all about Christianity, and they talked to the natives, and they're like, "Hey, you should worship God, or else you go to hell." And they're like, "Oh, well, what about him? He doesn't know about God. Will he go to hell?" He's like, "No, it's because he doesn't know any better." It's like, okay, so why did you tell me? I would have just gone to heaven if I didn't know. Why'd you stop me? Now I have to blindly put my faith into him, otherwise I won't go? Wouldn't it be better if you just let me just be aimless?
Yeah. Okay. That's a really different, little subject. Okay. All right. I got you. But
where
are you going?
Think of this exact thing where she had no idea and she just is better off not knowing.
They're off not knowing. Remember that. Sometimes it's better people don't know certain things. Just let it go. Sometimes it's not better to correct them. Just let them go. Move on. There are better battles to fight.
Eventually they'll find something more entertaining, especially if there's like nothing coming back from it. They're not getting any attention from it, they'll stop. They'll find something else.
Dude,
They'll find the next person, the next trend, whatever.
Or will it change anything? Or basically, it's one of those things where will it change anything?
No, not like even if she. Wait, what happens if she gets fired? Nothing changes.
That'd be hard.
That'd be hard.
She does her job. So
it'd be terrible on her, absolutely. But I mean, like, what do they gain?
But the thing is, like she said before, this isn't like the first time. Like it pops up every so often.
What?
That is the most important thesis of this video, but there's another thing that I want to say as well. So, a particularly upstanding citizen of the internet.
A particularly upstanding citizen of the internet. Put this out there. Alanah Pearce should be fired for promoting Xbox games on a public platform like this. Extremely unprofessional and demonstrates a lack of loyalty and seriousness to PlayStation, her employer.
Hold on. All she said was, you can fly to any planet in #Starfield. It will take you just hours. Took Alanah Pearce 7 hours to fly to Pluto here.
Yeah, she flew to no. She took 7 hours to fly to Pluto, and then when she got there, she like just went through Pluto and got stuck inside of it.
So she was bug testing the game for them, and then found a bug, and now she's just now she can reveal it to everyone and say, "Hey,
she literally, you got."
Like, why would she be fired for finding something bad within a competitor's game?
It's not
and
that
this it's nothing bad like that. Absolutely, no. I'm saying like that's just fun.
No, I know what you're saying, but my thing is like that person overlooked this entire thing. Didn't even look at the video exactly what happened or anything like that. This person is so Sony pony heavy that they have looked past all that and said, she works at PlayStation. Why are you touching my Xbox stuff? You should be fired.
That is ridiculous.
Period. End of discussion. Because that's how things work.
This looks like a stream promotion than anything else.
Because she streams. That's what she does.
Yeah, these
games.
Her post is a stream promotion, and then he just ragged on like her.
Yes, because
she's promoting.
But like, she should be fired for playing an Xbox game. That's the end of story.
Okay, that's like saying I should be fired for going home after work. Why? It doesn't make sense.
But the point is that there's a console war. She should only be with the PlayStation, period. That's she should not do anything else. But they forget the whole part of how are you going to know other products that have came out on whether or not they are better than yours, how they are better or how they are worse than yours to improve your own product.
Yeah. If
you have to go out and look, do you really think that the iPhone, the Apple only sets in their own little bubble and doesn't look at Android phones or Google Pixel shit? Do you think they just set their own bubble and that's it, and they don't mess around with these other phones?
You don't think
some probably own a few of these
and just like open them up? You don't think they would just like pop them open and just look what they got inside somewhere? They're absolutely tearing those things apart. Well, like you said, well, it's illegal. It doesn't matter. They're tearing them apart. They want to know what they got in there. If they know what their competitor has.
There you go. Bob puts it here. I'm sorry, Bobby, but you're fired from Pizza Hut. We saw you ordering from Domino's across the street. There you go. This is what this is.
Kia tweeted this in response to me playing Starfield. They said, Alanah Pearce should be fired for promoting Xbox games on a public platform like this. Extremely unprofessional and demonstrates a lack of loyalty and seriousness to PlayStation, her employer, at Herman Holst, at Corey Pollock. Which, as an aside, Corey and I spent about 10 minutes before a meeting today talking about the stuff we were doing in Starfield and how much we were enjoying it. So good luck with that one. If I DM Herman and I'm like, hey, how are you liking Starfield? He'd be like, it's great.
So hey guys, yeah, I was actually talking with my employer. They're like, "Hey, yeah, Starfield's pretty good." See how that works out for you. Oh my God.
But yes, Bethesda.net shared this with me, and my reply was, you don't need to share it with me. Like, never feel like you need to share this with me. I don't care. And it happens all the time. Actually, there was one time that it happened where I didn't even know it was happening, that a bunch of people were very mad at me because I love Tunic, until Phil Spencer DM'd me and was like, I'm sorry, this is happening. It's like, I didn't even know. I would never know unless you told me. But yes, we're going to talk about it very quickly today, just to like...
No, she says she doesn't know, so on and so forth, which I'm going to go with X the doubt.
Yeah.
I think
It's a
she
little hard
does
not
know,
to know.
but I just don't think she responds or really cares because it doesn't really matter.
There's no reason
But
for her
does
to
she know?
care.
I am pretty sure 100% that she does know.
I think she gets
Like,
notified too
you
much.
can't hide away from it. Like, someone's going to keep pushing it out there. You think there's only like 5 people out there that, like, you know, tell her that this is going on? No, there's probably hundreds that DM her and so on and so forth on various platforms.
Mob
She
mentality.
knows. She doesn't respond nor care, and that's exactly what you should do. Like, it doesn't, because this stuff doesn't matter. It's only for those that have this idea that these consoles are everything. Which I hate to break it to you, but they're all inferior to PC. So I really don't give an F.
They really are.
Like,
That's
you're
just an
fighting over the
objective
lower
standpoint.
ranks. Don't even care. I don't. The only reason why I've ever gotten a console is because there are games on the console that I couldn't get on the PC. If all the games were not, if there was no exclusive games on the consoles and they all came to PC, I would have never owned a console. End of story. I like a few games here and there, but if they were all on PC, I'd only have a PC. I would never have touched a console.
I'd like to play my games anywhere. That'd be nice.
Get it out there about like how absurd this misconception is, and then I'll just get back to playing video games because that's what I do. So for reference, I do have this person blocked, which is very uncommon. I only have 700 people blocked on Twitter, and I have 500,000 followers. Like, I do not...
She's only got 700 people blocked on Twitter.
That's still pretty low, honestly. Like, she's a streamer, ain't she?
She is a streamer.
Only 700.
She's also a female streamer.
Yeah, only 700.
Only 700. I feel like that has to be a record low.
That's really low.
I think that is.
There's a lot of weird people out there. A lot of people with like 4 or 5 separate accounts. So 700 is pretty low.
I think so. Okay. I think this is bragging. I think she's bragging.
Block many people at all. I would say 50% of those blocks are because somebody did something and I found it funny to block them. Sometimes there are people who I suspect, like this one, I'm not actually sure, I don't know who this is. People will warn me about, like, they'll have enough people be like, hey, this person is doing this or like harassing you or whatever. And they've done it frequently enough that I will just go and block them based on someone telling me to. Like, I haven't even seen the stuff myself. I'm like, okay, I've registered that enough people are mentioning this that I should probably block this person. In any case, the replies to the tweet are quite funny. You're just like, they had to turn their replies off because people were dunking on them so hard for this absurd tweet. And it is absurd. This is like
shocking,
ridiculous, and I'm sure most of you know that. But there have been some sane people who've asked me questions about how this works as well, and I'm like, let me just address it. I work at...
So this is kind of the part where I wanted to actually get to. Yeah, this other first part is absolutely stupid.
It's funny.
And we all know that. But now, this is the rest of the video where I found more interesting about how some of this stuff actually works.
Yeah, I was curious. I'm glad that she goes into it.
Santa Monica Studio, and I love working there. It's the best job I've ever had. I'm so happy there. I love my job. I love the people I work with. Like, I think I work at one of the best game studios in the entire world. That is my honest opinion of working in SMS. I think the studio is incredible. And I work with so many people who have so much talent and experience. And like I said, I think some of the best in the entire industry. That is my stance on the place that I work. Similarly, I also have friends who work at Bethesda, and I have friends who work at Xbox, and I have friends who work at Nintendo. When you work in the industry for a long time, I'm over 10 years now, you end up making friends who work a lot of places. And I think...
What, you have a problem that she has friends everywhere? Is that what you're saying?
It just sounds like she's bragging. Okay?
Okay, even if it is, even if it's a humble brag. Like, but then again, she's been in here for like a decade. I mean, you're gonna have friends all over the place because it's not just that. Because if she started at one place, we'll say Bethesda, this as a game studio, those people that work there are going to spread out. Some of those people you worked with for like a year, 2, 3 years, and you gotten friends with, then one's going to go over to Nintendo, and one's going to go over to Xbox, and you're going to follow there, and then you're going to go over to PlayStation. They're going to go somewhere else. So it's just like that little knit that you started with just kind of expanded out, and now those exact same friends are all over the place.
Yeah, that's the game.
That's just natural stuff.
They're everywhere. You know everybody and everywhere.
I think one thing that people don't realize is that the console wars don't really exist inside the industry. In fact, there are people on my direct team at Santa Monica Studio who came from Xbox.
You guys don't actively hate each other?
Why? Isn't that what fuels you? Isn't that what makes the consoles better?
This is...
How? This is a lie!
I can't believe this. This is so...
What will I do?
Oh my god.
Oh.
The whole world's crushed.
Who just worked at an Xbox studio. Santa Monica Studio will have people leave who will then go to work at Microsoft-owned studios. Like, I get that these, like, console fanboys think that there's, like, this constant war, but the truth is, the games industry has people sharing around all the time between many of these companies because there are only so many jobs available in game development. And if there's anything consistent for all of the people that I know who work at PlayStation, or who work at Nintendo, or who work at Xbox, it's that they don't care. The reality of working in game development, or at least my reality, this is my experience. Of course, other people may have had different experiences. I'd be very surprised if any of it differs very much. I'm not talking about people who work in PR and marketing whose like job it is to sell the brand. That's not my job. All I actually care about is doing my job and doing it well. Of course, I want people to like the stuff I'm working on, and of course I want it to be successful. But I pretty similarly want every other game in the industry to be the same way. Working in the games industry is amazing and exciting, and
interesting take.
So yeah, she's not part of the PR department. She does her own job. She does her stuff. And like she's gonna put here, she wants other devs to do really well, so on and so forth. Because it's not. How is there going to be more innovation in games if you're constantly only staying in your own little bubble?
Mm-hmm.
You take what other games have done really well, and then you start putting your own spin on there, or you put more stuff in there that kind of links it together, and you make a new type of genre or a new thing that upgrades that whatever genre that was and puts it on another level, and it keeps increasing up. I mean, if you think about it, of how games are compared to just 10 years ago, and then you compare it to even 20 years ago, of the drastic difference on how games are, what do you think the next 10 years is going to do? The next 20?
I'm just saying, like, the next 5 is pretty huge on its own. Like, it's not a linear, like, graph that the console thing is going on. Like, it's exponential. So we're going to increase dramatically, I think, in the next couple of years.
Exactly, of how games are going to be. To expect to not look at other games on other platforms would be absolutely one of the stupidest things you would possibly do.
You're insane.
How would you
think that's like how it can go?
The more successful those kind of games are, already gives you a hint on what you can do on your game to actually help make it more successful. It keeps working off of each other.
It's just,
and like she says,
you just stick in your own little bubble.
And like she says, a lot of the people in these companies are interconnected. It's not like there's like battlefield lines drawn. That's it. Like Xbox and PlayStation have like split California up. Like if you go across this line in San Francisco, you no longer belong. You cannot come back. You've went over. Don't come back.
Now.
We're burning your house down. Not how it works. Of course, there's not much in San Francisco as it is right now. But anyways,
it's already first.
And I've been in it for as long as I have because I love video games. But it's exciting because realistically, the technology is actually in its infancy. Like, we're still figuring out what we're doing. People are making huge leaps every year. The way video games look now is going to look so different in 50 years' time because the industry still has so much room to progress. Frankly, I see video games as like almost limitless. Because as the hardware progresses, video games can progress. Like, we can't even fathom the kind of games that we'll be playing in 20 years. Right. Everything is about technical limitation, and there's not necessarily a cap on hardware progression. Thus, there is not necessarily really a cap on game dev progression. So when a big game comes out and people are excited about it, the whole industry is excited about it. I am excited for my friends who work at Xbox. Like I said, virtually every dev, when something like this happens, is just excited about it. Like a big blockbuster game that's taken 10 years to make and has a huge budget, like everyone else is like, oh my god, I can't wait to play it, let's play it. Corey, they tagged him.
You
That's
know,
what she says. Like they're
I-
all excited to play it.
I feel that's really good because it shows that game developers are just really enthusiastic gamers, and that's what I like to see. I
even-
like hearing that the people that are making the game is more excited about the game than me. I love that.
I mean, it comes to even in my own job. Like if some guy's having struggle and they're like next door, like I'm not going to tell them no because they work at a competing company. I just be like, dude, okay, let's get this figured out. Whatever that issue is. Because at the end of the day, it's not just them. Like you're not just working for yourselves. You're also working for an actual human being on the other end of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
That's
somebody
someone.
else that's actually getting either the product or the end, the end service. So you kind of need to be more looking at them. So yeah, I mean, you should be excited. And again, at the exact same time, it just gives you another revelation of things you can do in your own work. So there is competition. It's just not cutthroat.
Yeah.
And it's another thing, like there's only so many devs too. They kind of swap companies from here and there. Like they're not, if it's like, if we, for example, if I use Marvel versus DC, when it comes to writers and artists and so on and so forth, do you know how many times they got swapped backwards and forth? One would steal one from the other, pay them more, and then the other one like snag one of theirs and pay them more, and they get drugged over.
He draws a really good Batman. Snag him.
Yeah, no, serious. They would like the money would flow when they were like used to. Now they both suck. Anyway.
But somebody else shared a tweet where Corey is talking about how excited he was to play Starfield. Like, what did you think was going to happen? It's so absurd. People in the games industry like and care about video games as a whole. I am not concerned about.
They what?
They had that. Someone shared a tweet of Corey, the person of PlayStation,
Yes.
saying, "Oh, I like this game." He already said he played. Like, what?
Yeah, so it's like gonna go to him, huh? Yeah, okay.
About sales, pieces of hardware, or content. I am concerned about doing my job well and making a good video game and enjoying what everyone else makes too. I have always loved Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo. I used to work at Xbox. I have 2 Nintendo tattoos. I currently work at PlayStation. It would not surprise me if I continue to work for all 3 of these companies as I continue in the games industry, because I love all of them.
How did you get hired if you have 2 Nintendo tattoos at PlayStation?
That's what I'm saying.
I think that is information that you should have told your employer before you even get hired there. I didn't know how they hired you. They should definitely fire you now.
You're a spy. Like, that's all there is to this. Like, it's not
She's
even
like a
close.
triple spy. She's worked
She
at
is
Xbox, has Nintendo
gamer.
tattoos, and now working at PlayStation.
Bro.
Like she is like triple
And she's
espionage.
a gamer girl. You really think so? No. She says she likes games too. It can't be. It's
Sus.
I love the stuff
See,
they
gang
love that they're
tattoos.
making
It's an
different
AI.
things. Like, I'm just so happy to be here. And it is not my job or the job of anyone like me to worry about like Starfield being successful or not. Like, I just want other video games to be successful, especially when they're single player and don't have microtransactions. Like, that is the
Oh.
kind of games that I want to make forever.
She's a robot.
So
it
I
can't
always
be.
want every other game in the games industry that follows that same pattern to be as successful as possible. I want it to be a commercial success. And so like all these console fanboys who care about this, like again, I know most of you don't and most of you are rational people. People who actually work into game development, everybody's just excited about video games, man. Like they don't care who made them. They're just happy that all their friends who work in dev made something cool. And like, of course you have multiple people who jump between companies, so you will end up working with someone who worked at Bethesda or end up working with somebody who worked at Santa Monica Studio. Like it's just
Pretty
the way the
straightforward.
industry works. The stuff that you think matters does not matter. It maybe matters to a marketing department or a PR department. I don't know. But I can also tell you a little bit of my experience with the marketing PR departments. So when I worked at Xbox, PlayStation still gave me a PlayStation.
Okay, this is the part. Go back a little bit. This is the part where she talks about how if she gets extra, like say dev kits or games, so on and so forth, codes, yada yada yada. She talks about how it kind of works.
Experience with the marketing PR departments. So when I worked at Xbox, PlayStation still gave me a PlayStation 4 and they gave me early access to games. There was
So this is when she worked at PlayStation. She got the console. She got games.
No hesitation there whatsoever. They still gave me access to PlayStation stuff. Now I work at PlayStation and Xbox.
Or I should say, this is when she worked at Xbox. She used to get all the PlayStation stuff.
Oh.
Kind of hesitated a little to begin with, and now give me access to codes for Xbox games. But they did used to give me like all the cool stuff, like the controllers and stuff. I don't get that stuff from them anymore. Like I clearly like was moved around a mailing list a little bit. PlayStation didn't care. Nintendo also didn't care. They gave me everything when I worked at Xbox, didn't care at all. And nobody at PlayStation or Sony at any point ever has ever told me not to talk about games on other platforms. In reality, the thing that I do have restrictions on is promoting PlayStation. I no longer get early access to PlayStation games. I can't do an early impressions of a PlayStation game. I can't do like my first hour gameplay of a PlayStation game. I have to buy all my PlayStation games and I buy them on release. There was an ad.
So now she works at PlayStation. She gets basically nothing from PlayStation.
On Xbox, she got a PlayStation.
Yeah, from PlayStation, and also got Xbox stuff. But now she works at PlayStation. Xbox was hesitant to give her some things, but now they do, and blah, blah, blah. But now PlayStation, the place she works at, does not give her console, does not give her early access, nothing. Zilch. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wait, she works at the company, and now she doesn't get any of that?
I can see why. I think it's just silly.
To not lend to more bias, right? You would think?
Yeah. Yeah. I was more
Okay.
thinking it was just
So-
like a kind of bribing thing to try and like win her over. Try and just that sort of thing. See, let's try and get her to really come over. And then now that they've gotten her over once, it's all good. They don't need to keep doing it.
Well, it's not just that, because if you're giving her things from, or if you're a different console, the platform, yada yada yada, and you're giving her things to test, so on and so forth, being that she is a dev, so on and so forth, and she has some authenticity to herself, then you're gonna get more real,
A good look,
feedback.
a good insight on what what could be put into the game.
It's like a give and take. But here's the thing. So she works at PlayStation and she doesn't get these things. Yet game journalists tend to get these fancy, nice things. Don't you think that could be a problem of some sort? Just putting it out there. It's almost like that would create a bias towards giving positive reviews.
It's a little weird. So that way you can't have a true review. At least you have like 100 people saying, "Yep, game's good. Try."
Yeah, like how some of these places gave a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 to Starfield that has bugs aplenty,
And has
AI problems
40 minutes in game.
that plenty have said that if you've given a 9 or a 10 out of 10 for this game, you're a shill for sure. I've seen enough of it to go, I don't think it's a 9 or a 10. Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically what I'm saying is like, she doesn't get nothing for working at the place, yet we give all these journalists or so on and so forth, these other game sites, these special gifts.
Yeah, they get really special treatment. It's not even close. Like
And you're
sometimes,
expecting,
like, they're
and you're expecting
given-
them not to be biased, and when the person that you work for you won't do because you feel like that'd be biased?
Like-
what? How does that make any sense?
the person who works for you just it should be the person kind of no, it really shouldn't.
So
Oh,
it's
oh, this is just
basically
the person.
anytime somebody usually has an early access, it's probably because they're going to give a favorable review of some kind.
Mhm.
Don't see too many that have early access that don't. And if they do, it's only once. They're no longer on the list. Fast.
Just like that interview.
Agency in Australia that wanted to pay me to make part of an ad for Ratchet and Clank because they knew I was super excited about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh.
But I guess somebody at Sony said no. I think it's like a totally respectable ethical stance of like, you can talk about Xbox and Nintendo all you want. They have never said anything that would in any way disparage me from doing so or discourage me doing so. I just can't get early access to anything PlayStation related. And I don't get the like fun mailer kits that a lot of my friends who work in media get. Like they get like the newest PlayStation controllers that they share on social media. I don't get any of that kind of stuff. It's like the opposite of what you think it is.
Yeah.
As for if I'm biased towards PlayStation or Xbox, the truth is people have been saying this about me in either direction, in both directions, so passionately for as long as I have been speaking about video games. People have called me a PlayStation shill for the last 10 years, and people have called me an Xbox shill for the last 10 years. It depends which side you're on. I have PlayStation fans get very mad at me because I didn't talk about PlayStation enough. And I have Xbox fans get mad at me because apparently I don't like certain games because they're on Xbox. The Starfield one's been extra fun because it depends which side of the camp you're on. I really like this game, but I have some criticisms of it, right? That's how I feel about it as a person who just is here and enjoys video games. But because my stance is not like all one or the other because I'm a human being, the Xbox fans are like, fuck you, Sony shill. And the PlayStation fans are like, fuck you, you're obsessed with this game, you love it. Like, they don't realize that they're both saying the literal opposite thing. And I don't care if
They're literally saying the exact opposite thing constantly. Huh. And that's something. It's almost like both sides are idiots. Wow, that's crazy.
That is wild.
I think you have the right. It is, because then you start noticing like but that doesn't make any sense. How can I be this or this, so on and so forth? Like this doesn't. Console wars is only in the fan bases, and you know what? I'm fine with. If you want to be a fan, a fanatic, be my guest. But don't think it's reality, though.
Not everyone else thinks like that.
people think I'm biased. Again, it's been happening forever. Think whatever you want. But the actual reality of where I land in the video game landscape, as much as I'm sure it's annoying for a lot of people who are console fanboys, is honestly just that I love video games. I love Xbox, I love PlayStation, I love Nintendo. I just really love video games. That is how I feel. And I want them all to be good, and I'm so happy when any of them are good, especially, again, if they're single-player microtransaction-free experiences. That is my stance. If you're going to criticize me for anything, it would be that sometimes I get too excited. Like, I can get a bit carried away with how excited I am about certain things, and obviously I share that, and if I have influence on you, you could end up being also very excited. But I can't, like, turn that off. Like, I'm just happy to be here, man. And of course, saying this is not going to change the minds of any of these people. Like, I know that. But I did want to be clear about the fact that, like, wow, why is she allowed to talk about Starfield so much? Like, even sane people have been saying that. Like, people who are not all over the console war brigade. It's not a thing. There's nobody at Sony who's ever going to tell me that I shouldn't talk about Starfield. People have wondered if there were restrictions, and like, no, of course not. There are no restrictions on me liking video games. All you'll ever see from the dev community is people supporting other people's games. It's so weird that you like forget that when there's a big release. Like, it's all over Twitter. People at PlayStation and people at Nintendo are loving Starfield. That's just the way it is. You get excited about the industry and you're just like happy to be a part of it. So in conclusion, I don't care about this stuff and you don't need to share it with me. I'd prefer if you didn't most of the time. It's not worth it. Second point is the console war stuff that y'all think matters so much doesn't actually matter to anyone on my level. We all just love video games and are excited about video games and new video games being good and having a good time at video games. Third, no, there are no restrictions, and no one has ever said anything to me at all about how much I like an Xbox game or how much I like a Nintendo game. Now we can just pretend this never happened. It's done. I'm not gonna get fired because I liked Xbox or Nintendo. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, everybody. She's not getting fired because she liked the game. Sorry.
So lame. Where's this woke justice that I hear so much
Sorry.
about?
I like the calzone / mixed pizza / cheese stick combo thing that Mazio's had. Even though I worked at, Papa John's, but not gonna get fired because of that.
Real shame. Real shame.
And my thing is that if it's really popular, then Papa John's is gonna copy it. Because that's how it works. So the fact that the fact that she came out and says that even though she's working for PlayStation, she does not have any restrictions when it comes to talking about these things.
Which I didn't really expect. I never thought about it too much, but I didn't think that they would be so open about it, right? Like, you can absolutely talk about other people. Like, we really don't care. We really don't care if you rag on the company. You still work for us.
I think that, when we think about it, she works at PlayStation. It's not like she's working for a competing game dev studio, for instance.
Mm-mm.
It's not like they're competing in a certain game, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's not like they
Let me
have
try
like,
if I can. Like Epic versus EA when it comes to Apex versus Fortnite. That's
yes,
like
that's
at least
exactly
in
what
a
I was
similar
looking for.
genre. I have a feeling that when you come down to it, they've kind of worked off of each other as it is.
Mhm. I think the biggest one that I can come up to is like when Fortnite introduced reboot bans. It was because Apex introduced revival things. So then that started
Right.
every other place started having a way to revive your dead friends.
And then even PUBG finally put it in. The one that was the most saying no, they put it in. So it's amazing how it seems like these game devs, so on and so forth, look at other games and look how to improve their own. Isn't that something?
No, I don't ever feel that way because my games always feel, trash nowadays. But hey, that's just my feeling.
Yeah, yes, yeah, no, it's just one of those things. I figured I'd bring that up because I'm like, this seems really silly. So
It's so silly, bro.
Hey, some people are really just.
I really wanted her
too much.
fired, bro.